Your phone buzzes with a notification and your heart does that ridiculous drop. It is just a meme from a group chat, but for a second you were back in that awful, hopeful place. We have all been there, stuck in the emotional spin cycle after a relationship ends, checking devices like they are ancient oracles, overthinking every past text. What if you could step out of that cycle for good, not by winning someone back, but by becoming someone they look at and think, "Wow, I really underestimated him." This is not about games or revenge. It is about a 2,000-year-old philosophy that turns heartbreak into the raw material for unshakable strength and quiet dignity. By the end of this, you will have 25 concrete Stoic lessons that do not just manage the pain, but forge a version of you that commands genuine respect from your ex and, more importantly, from yourself. What if the most powerful response to being left is not moving on, but leveling up in a way that leaves everyone, including her, quietly in awe of the man you have become? What does real self-respect actually look like when every part of you wants to look back? That first gut punch of pain is not a choice. When you see her name pop up on your screen, or when a memory hits you out of nowhere, the wave of sadness or anger is automatic. Stoicism calls this initial surge an impression. It is a raw signal from your nervous system, and the ancient Stoics were clear: you cannot stop these signals from arriving. But here is where your power begins, in what they called proherses, your faculty of choice. This is your capacity to judge that impression, to give it your assent or to withhold it. Think of it like this: your phone buzzes, that is the impression. Your mind immediately races: it is her, she is texting to apologize, she misses me, maybe we can fix this. That story you instantly start telling yourself. That is you preparing to give your assent. You are about to hand over all your mental peace to that single notification. Mastering your impressions means inserting a pause between the buzz and the story. You feel the ache, you acknowledge it, you might even say to yourself, "This is an impression of loss." But then you consciously choose your judgment. You decide, "This text does not mean what my fear wants it to mean. It is just a message. My worth is not determined by who texts me." Your choice then is to either reply from a place of calm clarity or to not reply at all until you can. That deliberate pause, that refusal to be jerked around by every emotional impulse, is the absolute bedrock of self-respect. It transforms you from a reactor, someone who blows up their own life over a single sentence, into a man who governs his inner world. This is the first and most critical lesson, because without it, none of the others are possible. That deliberate pause you create becomes a border between two kingdoms. On one side is everything you genuinely own: your own mind, your own choices, your own character. On the other side is a vast, noisy territory filled with other people's thoughts, the unpredictable flow of events, and the unchangeable past. The Stoics called this the dichotomy of control, and it is the single most practical tool for reclaiming your peace after a breakup. What is truly yours is shockingly small, but it is everything. Your judgments, the meanings you assign to events, your values, what you decide to honor and pursue. Your desires, what you choose to want, and your actions, the steps you take with your own 2 feet. Everything else is not yours. Her thoughts about you, her feelings, her decision to leave, the reasons she gave or did not give. The past you shared, every memory, good and bad. The opinions of your mutual friends, the rumors that might float around, even the simple fact of whether she is dating someone new. That is all outside your kingdom. You stand at that border every single day. The notification buzzes again. You feel the pull to check her social media, to see if she has posted a new picture, to scrutinize it for clues. That urge is yours, a desire you feel, but whether she actually posted what the picture shows, who liked it, that is not yours. Your power lies in the choice you make with what is yours. You cannot control if she is on a date right now, but you can absolutely control whether you spend the next hour imagining it, torturing yourself with mental movies you will never confirm. You cannot control if a mutual friend mentions her name in conversation, but you can control your reaction, whether you lean in anxiously for details or calmly change the subject. When you stop pouring your finite energy, your focus, your emotional capital into the territory that is not yours, something remarkable happens. All that energy floods back into your own kingdom. Instead of obsessing over her new life, you channel that intensity into a workout, into learning a skill you have always put off, into deepening your other relationships. This focus projects an immense quiet strength. It makes you unpredictable, not in a manipulative way, but in a way that shows you are no longer orbiting her reality. You are building your own. People, including her, will notice this self-possession. They will see a man who is not waiting for external validation, but who is calmly, steadily building something from the inside out. That is the foundation of genuine respect. Building your own kingdom sounds powerful in theory, but the ghost of what you lost still haunts the halls. You accept the breakup happened, yet a part of you still sees it as a tragic flaw in your story, a chapter you wish you could tear out and burn. This is where you move from simple acceptance to a radical, almost alchemical shift. The ancient Stoics called it amor fati, a love of one's fate. It was later championed by the philosopher Nietzsche, who said the goal was not merely to bear what is necessary, but to love it. This is not about putting on a fake smile and pretending the pain was good. It is about a deeper, more profound reframing. What if the breakup was not a mistake to be mourned, but a necessary event in the story of you becoming who you are meant to be? Think of the toughest teacher you ever had. You probably did not like them in the moment. They were strict, they challenged you, they gave you the grade you earned, not the one you wanted. But years later, you look back and realize they were the one who actually prepared you for the real world. They forced a level of discipline and understanding you would have never developed on your own. Your breakup is that teacher. The curriculum is brutal, but it is uniquely yours. So ask yourself, what did this pain reveal? It likely showed you where you were too dependent, where you anchored your happiness to another person's presence. It exposed your capacity for resilience you never knew you had, simply because you had no choice but to find it. It cleared away a relationship that, for whatever reason, was not built for the long haul, creating a vacuum that now demands to be filled by something new, and likely something better suited to the man you are becoming. Your task is to actively list the benefits, not vague ideas but concrete, personal ones, the independence to shape your schedule without compromise. The self-discovery that comes from facing Saturday night alone and realizing you are still okay. The new opportunities that are only available because you are single, from traveling on a whim to dedicating time to a forgotten passion. Amor fati means working, genuinely working, to see the event itself as good because it happened, not in spite of it happening. It is the difference between saying, I am stronger despite that breakup, and saying, I am stronger because of that breakup. When you can look at the wound and see it as the place the light enters, your entire posture changes. You stop carrying the relationship like a burden and start carrying its lessons like a toolkit. That shift is visible. It reads as a profound maturity, a man who is not defined by what happened to him, but who is actively, gratefully using it all as fuel. Loving your fate transforms the past, but what about the future and the sharp, sudden anxieties it holds? That moment you walk into a coffee shop and see her laughing with someone new, or when a friend casually mentions her name in a story that no longer includes you. The fear of these moments can be more paralyzing than the breakup itself, making you avoid places, mute mutual friends, live in a state of defensive anticipation. Stoicism offers a counterintuitive vaccine for this fear, a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This is not about cultivating pessimism or expecting the worst to happen. It is emotional inoculation. You are deliberately exposing yourself to a small, controlled dose of the mental virus so that when, or if you encounter the real thing, your system is prepared and your immunity is strong. The exercise is straightforward but profound. You sit in a quiet moment and you vividly imagine a specific, challenging scenario. Do not shy away from the details. Imagine turning a corner at the grocery store and there she is, not just her, but with a new partner, their hands intertwined. See the colors of their clothes, hear the murmur of the store around you, feel the immediate physical jolt in your chest. Let that initial sting land, do not run from it. Then, and this is the critical shift, you mentally rehearse your stoic response. You watch yourself take a slow, deliberate breath. You see yourself offering a simple, polite nod, a brief smile that holds no bitterness, and then you turn your attention back to your own cart, to your own life. You imagine the internal monologue, not one of panic or jealousy, but of calm acknowledgement. This is an impression. Their happiness is not my concern. My peace is my project. You can even take it a step further and mentally wish them well, not because you have to mean it fervently, but because it asserts your own freedom from resentment. By pre-rehearsing this scene, you accomplish something remarkable. You rob the potential future event of its greatest weapon, the element of surprise. When your nervous system has already weathered that storm in the safe harbor of your imagination, the real event loses its power to hijack your composure. It becomes just another thing that happens, not a catastrophe that defines you. So when you do eventually hear that piece of gossip, or see that social media post, or even cross paths in person, your reaction is not one of shocked pain, but of practiced grace. You handle it with a composed indifference that does not read as cold, but as profoundly self-possessed. People will witness a man who cannot be thrown off center by life's inevitable awkwardness. That calm in the face of what once would have shattered you is a quiet, undeniable signal of immense emotional maturity and resilience. It tells the world and reminds yourself that you have done the inner work and you are no longer afraid of any ghost the past can send your way. That practiced grace becomes a quiet superpower, but there is another, even more expansive tool for dissolving the lingering sting. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, a man who faced betrayal, plague, and constant war, would often practice a mental exercise he called the view from above. When the pressures of his world felt overwhelming, he would deliberately zoom out in his mind's eye. He would start with his own body in his room, then pull back to see the entire palace, then the city of Rome, then the peninsula of Italy, then the whole earth as a tiny blue sphere, and finally out into the silent, star-dusted expanse of the cosmos. He was not trying to escape his problems, but to see them in their true proportion. Your heartbreak, when you are in the thick of it, feels like the only event in human history. It colors every meal, every sunset, every song on the radio. It becomes the gravitational center of your personal universe, pulling every thought into its orbit. The view from above breaks that orbit. Try it right now. Close your eyes for a moment if you can. See yourself in the room you are in. Now pull the camera back up through the ceiling, seeing your building, then your neighborhood from a bird's eye view. Keep going. See your entire city as a grid of tiny lights, then your country as a shape on a globe. Pull back further until the Earth is a marble hanging in the black void, one planet among billions in a single galaxy among trillions. In that scale, your relationship, with all its beautiful moments and its painful ending, occupies a fraction of a second on a timeline billions of years long. This is not meant to belittle your pain or tell you it does not matter. Your feelings are real and valid, but this cosmic perspective is the ultimate antidote to self-importance, to the belief that your suffering is uniquely catastrophic. It contextualizes your experience within the breathtaking sweep of existence. When you feel the urge to scroll through old photos for the 100th time, or to draft that angry text you will never send, pause and take the view from above. Ask yourself, in the life of this ancient, spinning rock, what is the true weight of this single thought I am about to indulge? It prevents you from making the breakup the defining story of your life, and instead frames it as one significant chapter in a much longer, grander narrative you are still writing. A man who can access this perspective, even momentarily, carries himself differently. He does not get pulled into petty dramas or gossip. He does not see a rival's success as a personal defeat. He understands that most of what we worry about is a temporary arrangement of atoms in a fleeting moment. This does not make him cold or detached. It makes him grounded and impossibly calm. That air of quiet wisdom, the sense that he is operating from a deeper, wider understanding of reality, is profoundly and immediately respectable. It signals that he is not a boy reacting to every passing storm, but a man who has seen the size of the ocean and is no longer afraid of the waves. That cosmic perspective shrinks your worries, but it also highlights a breathtaking urgency. The stars may be eternal, but you are not. The Stoics had a phrase for this: memento mori, remember you must die. This is not a morbid fixation, but the ultimate tool for cutting through the fog of post-breakup obsession. It is the sharpest question you can ask yourself when you feel that pull toward the past. Is spending another hour analyzing her social media or replaying that last argument in your head a worthy use of your precious and irreplaceable time? You have a finite number of heartbeats, a limited collection of mornings. The awareness of this limit is not a threat, it is a clarifying force. It forces immediate and ruthless prioritization. When you truly internalize that your days are numbered, the energy you have been pouring into the rearview mirror suddenly feels like a profound waste. That energy could be building your body, writing that book, reconnecting with an old friend, learning to cook a magnificent meal, standing barefoot in a river. The pain of the breakup is real, but memento mori asks you to weigh it against the staggering opportunity cost of dwelling there. What are you postponing while you mourn what is gone? This reminder shifts your focus in a single, decisive motion, away from what you have lost and directly onto what you still possess: your breath, your mind, your capacity to act, and the blank canvas of your future. A man who lives with a gentle, constant awareness of his own mortality does not have time for prolonged bitterness or petty revenge. He is too busy. He is driven by a quiet urgency to build something meaningful, to contribute, to experience depth and joy while he can. This is not about frantic activity, but about intentional living. That focus is magnetic. It commands a deep, instinctive respect because it signals a man who understands the value of his one life and refuses to auction it off for cheap drama. He is not waiting for an apology or a second chance. He is already building his legacy, one deliberate day at a time. That focus on your one precious life demands a daily audit. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful men in the world, ended every single day with a simple, profound ritual. He would sit with a wax tablet or a scroll, and he would write to himself. This was not a diary of events or a list of complaints. It was a nightly debrief of his own character. He called it his meditations, a private training ground for his soul. You can adopt this exact practice, and it will transform your post-breakup recovery from a vague hope into a concrete engineering project. The template is deceptively simple, just 3 questions. First, what did I do well today in terms of virtue? This is not about external achievements like finishing a work project or going to the gym, though those are good. This is about your inner architecture. Did you practice courage today, perhaps by having a difficult but necessary conversation you have been avoiding? Did you show temperance, maybe by turning off your phone and avoiding the rabbit hole of her social media when the urge struck? Did you act with justice, treating someone, even a stranger, with fairness and kindness? Did you exercise wisdom by choosing to see a setback as a lesson rather than a personal failure? Find one small victory of character and acknowledge it. This builds the evidence that you are growing stronger, not just moving on. The second question is more challenging. Where did I let externals disturb my peace today? Be brutally honest. Did a song on the radio send you spiraling into memory for 20 minutes? Did you let a friend's offhand comment about her new job trigger a whole afternoon of comparing yourself? Pinpoint the exact moment you handed your inner peace over to something outside your control. The goal is not to judge yourself, but to spot the pattern like a scientist observing data. Oh, I see, hearing that particular band still has a strong hook into my emotions. I will be mindful of that tomorrow. The third question is your corrective lens for the next day. What judgments about my ex or the past do I need to correct tomorrow? This is where you dismantle the stories that fuel your pain. You might write, I need to correct the judgment that her moving on means our entire relationship was a lie. The truth is, things end, and her new path does not erase our genuine past. Or, I need to correct the judgment that I am somehow behind in life because I am single again. The truth is, my timeline is my own, and this space is allowing me to rebuild with intention. This practice turns your journal from a diary of sadness into a logbook for self-mastery. Every night you are taking the internal chaos, the swirling regrets and anxieties, and you are giving them structure on the page. You are not just feeling your feelings, you are processing them with purpose. The very act of writing it down creates a separation between you and the storm. You are the observer, the analyst, the pilot. This disciplined nightly reflection builds the mental muscle of self-awareness faster than anything else. And self-awareness is the bedrock of a respected individual. People can sense when a man knows himself, when he is not reactive because he has already done the hard work of looking inward. He does not need to posture or prove because his own private ledger tells him exactly who he is and where he is going. That quiet certainty, earned one honest journal entry at a time, is unmistakable. That nightly journal is your private training ground, but its real power emerges when you take that self-awareness out into the world, into the very situations that hurt the most. The Stoics had a radical turn of phrase for this. They said the obstacle is the way, not a barrier to your path, but the path itself. Every external event, especially the painful ones, is simply raw material for practicing virtue. Your breakup is not an exception to this rule, it is the ultimate training arena. Think of it like this: you are a blacksmith, and virtue is the perfect blade you are trying to forge. You do not forge a blade by working with soft clay. You need hard, resistant steel. You need the hammer and the anvil. The intense heat, the repeated, brutal strikes, that is what aligns the metal structure, what gives it strength and a sharp edge. Your heartbreak is that heat, that hammer, that unyielding anvil. It is not something to be avoided. It is the essential condition for creating something unbreakable within you. So the question shifts completely. It is no longer, why did this happen to me, but rather, what virtue can I forge in the fire of this exact moment? The Stoics identified 4 cardinal virtues, and your breakup provides a masterclass in each. First, courage. This is not the absence of fear, but the will to act rightly despite it. Courage is deleting her number when you know you will be tempted to text after a lonely night. It is walking into that party where you might see her, holding your head high and engaging with other people. It is the quiet bravery of allowing yourself to feel the full weight of the sadness without numbing it with distraction or blame. Second, temperance. This is self-restraint, self-command. Temperance is the choice to have 1 drink instead of 5 when the memories get loud. It is shutting down the mental rerun of your last argument for the 20th time. It is resisting the petty urge to post something designed to make her jealous, to prove you are fine. Temperance says my dignity is more important than a moment of reactive satisfaction. Third, justice. This is the trickiest one when you are hurt. Justice is about fairness, about giving others their due. It means treating your ex with basic human respect, even if you feel she did not show it to you. It is refusing to badmouth her to mutual friends, to twist the narrative to make yourself the sole victim. It is honoring the good that was in the relationship, even as you acknowledge its end. This kind of justice is not for her benefit, it is for the integrity of your own character. And fourth, wisdom. This is the ability to see the situation clearly, to learn the correct lessons. Wisdom is understanding that the relationship ended not because you are unlovable, but because two complex people at that point in their journeys were not a lasting match. It is discerning the difference between a personal failure and a simple incompatibility. So here is your daily challenge, your active practice. In every difficult moment this situation throws at you, pause and ask the proactive questions. Not, why is this happening to me, but how can I use this moment to practice courage right now? How can this specific sting be an opportunity to exercise temperance? Is there a way to act with justice here, even when no one is watching? What is the wise lesson hidden in this particular frustration? This is the alchemy that Stoicism offers. It takes the lead weight of victimhood and through the focused heat of your intention, transmutes it into the gold of agency. You are no longer a passive recipient of pain. You are an active participant in your own forging, and a man who meets obstacles not with complaint but with the quiet question, what strength can I build here, commands a respect that silence and distance can never diminish. Forging your character in the fire of loss creates a new kind of gravity, but there is a subtle trap that can undo all that work. For years, maybe, you introduced yourself in stories as part of a we. Your plans were shared, your social identity was as someone's partner. When that is ripped away, it is not just a person you lose, it is a whole version of yourself. You can feel socially invisible, like a planet whose sun has gone out, left drifting and undefined. This is the moment where you must make a conscious, deliberate choice. Will you define yourself by an empty space, by what you are not, by a title that is no longer yours? Or will you define yourself by what cannot be taken, by the content of your own character? Stoicism draws a bright, uncompromising line here. Your worth is not external. It is not in your relationship status, your job title, your possessions, or even your achievements. Your essential worth is internal, rooted solely in your virtue, in the quality of your character. A breakup can strip away the label of boyfriend, but it cannot touch whether you are a person of integrity. It can leave you single, but it cannot make you disloyal. It can create loneliness, but it cannot steal your innate capacity for kindness. The danger is in linking your self-concept to that external role. If you were someone's boyfriend and now you are not, who are you? The answer must come from a deeper, more permanent place. So here is a practical exercise, one that moves this from philosophy to lived reality. Take out a piece of paper or open a note on your phone. At the top, write, I am a person who is, and then list the character traits you choose to embody, the virtues you are actively cultivating. Not skills like being a good cook or a fast runner, but moral qualities. I am a person who is loyal. I am a person who is disciplined with my time and energy. I am a person who is curious about the world. I am a person who is kind, even when it is not reciprocated. I am a person who is resilient. I am a person who seeks understanding before judgment. Write your own list, make it personal and true. This list is your new foundational identity. The breakup did not take these things. In fact, the breakup is now the arena where you get to prove them. When you feel that social emptiness, you do not reach for your phone to fill it. You look at your list. I am a person who is disciplined. So you put the phone down and pick up a book, or you go for a run. When you are tempted to speak poorly of her to a friend, you look at your list. I am a person who is just, so you choose to speak with fairness or you choose silence. By anchoring your identity here, you project a solid, complete sense of self. You are not a missing half searching for completion in another person. You are a whole integer. You walk into a room not as an available single guy, but as a man of principle. You engage in conversation not to find validation, but to connect from a place of genuine curiosity. This shift is palpable. People sense when someone is comfortable in their own skin, when they are not looking for someone else to tell them who they are. That wholeness is the absolute bedrock of genuine self-respect. and it is the very quality that draws the respect of others because it is real, it is earned, and it is utterly unshakable. That wholeness you cultivate is your fortress, but a fortress is only as strong as its ability to withstand siege. Right now, your mind is under siege by the discomfort of loss, and every instinct screams to soothe it, to scroll, to call, to numb. There is another way, a way to not just endure this siege, but to walk out and greet it on your own terms. This is the practice of voluntary discomfort. It is the deliberate, small-scale choice to embrace hardship before it is forced upon you. The goal is not masochism. It is not about punishing yourself for the pain you feel. It is a training drill for your soul, a way to prove to your deepest self that you are far tougher than your circumstances suggest. Think of it like a fire drill. You do not hope for a fire, but you practice the exit route so that if smoke ever fills the hallways, your body knows what to do without panic. Your breakup is the fire. Voluntary discomfort is your weekly drill. The exercises are simple, almost absurdly so. Take a cold shower for the final 60 seconds of your morning routine. Feel the shock, the gasp, the immediate desire to leap back into the warm water. Then stay, breathe through it, observe your mind's frantic protests, and then observe your body's ability to adapt. Choose to skip a meal, not out of neglect but as a conscious experiment. Notice the hunger pangs, the slight headache, the impulse to open the fridge. Sit with that sensation. Remind yourself this is temporary, this is a choice, and my well-being is not held hostage by my stomach's schedule. Delete your social media apps for a single 24-hour period. Feel the phantom limb itch to check, the boredom that feels intolerable, the fear of missing out on some trivial update. Sit in that quiet. What thoughts arise when you are not constantly feeding your mind with other people's curated lives? Each of these small acts is a vote for your own inner sovereignty. You are demonstrating in a tangible, physical way that your comfort is not your master. You are showing yourself that you can willingly step into a minor storm and come out the other side, unchanged at your core, but stronger in your resolve. Now apply this directly to the breakup pain. The urge to text her is a wave of emotional discomfort. Instead of immediately reaching for the phone to make it stop, you practice voluntary discomfort by sitting with the urge. You let it crash over you. You feel the ache in your chest, the tightness in your throat, and you breathe. You prove to yourself that you can handle this emotional weather without running for shelter in a conversation that will only make it worse. The confidence this builds is not theoretical. It is a deep, cellular knowledge that you are resilient. When you know you can handle a cold shower, skipping lunch, and a silent phone, the prospect of seeing her with someone new or spending a holiday alone loses its terrifying power. You have already faced smaller versions of hardship and remained steady. This makes you appear, and more importantly, feel unflappable. People are drawn to this quiet strength. They see a man who is not at the mercy of his appetites or his emotions, a man who chooses his responses rather than being chosen by his impulses. That self-commanded calm in the face of life's inevitable discomforts is a silent beacon of respect, signaling a depth of character that no amount of posturing can ever fake. Your voluntary discomfort has built a quiet resilience, a private strength, but that strength is truly tested the moment you open your mouth. In the raw aftermath, words feel like the only release valve you have. A bitter joke to a friend, a sarcastic comment online, a detailed rehashing of her flaws to anyone who will listen. It feels justified, even therapeutic. But every word you utter is not just a release, it is a brick in the structure of your new identity. Stoicism gives us a precise filter for this, a three-question gatekeeper for every sentence that wants to escape, especially those about her. Before you speak, ask, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? This is the discipline of assent applied directly to your communication. The first question, is it true, seems obvious. But in anger or hurt, we often speak a distorted truth. We exaggerate a flaw, we assume a malicious intent she may not have had. we present our interpretation as absolute fact. This question forces you back to objectivity. Did she actually say that exact thing, or are you paraphrasing with venom? The second question, is it necessary, is the scalpel that cuts away 90% of the words you are tempted to say. Is telling this story to your coworker necessary for your healing, or is it just gossip masquerading as sharing? Is that comment on her friend's post necessary, or is it a petty attempt to get a reaction? Most of what we want to vent is not necessary. It is emotional static noise that reinforces the very pain we claim to want to move past. The third question, is it kind, is the highest bar. It does not mean you must lie or sugarcoat, but it asks for a fundamental respect for human dignity, even for someone who has hurt you. Kindness here is not about her feelings, it is about the integrity of your own character. Speaking with bitterness is like drinking poison and hoping she gets sick. It corrodes you from the inside, making you someone who holds onto pain and spreads it. So what is left to say? If you must speak of her, perhaps to answer a direct question from a close friend, you aim for neutrality or even a measured generosity. Neutrality sounds like we wanted different things and it was best for us to part ways. Generosity, when you can muster it, sounds like she is a good person, we just weren't the right match long term. This is not being fake, this is exercising supreme control over your narrative. You are choosing the story you tell about your past and therefore the man you are in the present. When you consistently apply this filter, something remarkable happens. People notice. They see you don't take the cheap shot. They hear you don't indulge in the gossip circle. They witness a man who handles private pain with public class. This creates an aura of integrity that is impossible to ignore. It elevates you in their eyes not because you are perfect, but because you have the strength to be graceful when you have every excuse to be cruel. That choice speaks louder than any complaint ever could. That discipline over your words creates a clean space, a quiet room in your mind where the noise of blame finally begins to fade. In that silence, you might notice something unexpected. The story you have been telling yourself, the one where she is the antagonist who ruined your happy ending, starts to feel thin, almost childish. Stoicism invites you into a deeper, more nuanced truth with a principle called sympatheia, the interconnectedness of all things, which begins with a simple, humbling recognition. Your ex is not a villain in your story. She is a human being, flawed and acting according to her own nature, just as you are. This is not about excusing hurtful behavior or pretending you were not wrong. It is about understanding its source and in doing so, draining the poison of resentment from your own heart. Marcus Aurelius began his days with a powerful mental preparation. He would tell himself, "Today I will meet with meddling, ungrateful, violent, treacherous, envious, unsocial men and women. All this has befallen them because they do not know good from evil." Read that again. They do not know good from evil. He is not saying they are evil. He is saying they are ignorant, confused, lost in their own faulty reasoning. They are hurting, and from that hurt they act in ways that cause more hurt. Now apply that clear, compassionate lens to your situation. When she said that cruel thing in your last argument, or when she made the decision to leave in a way that felt cold, what was likely driving it? Was it a calculated mission to destroy you, or was it far more probably an action born from her own pain, her own fear, her own profound confusion about what she wanted or who she was? She was acting, however poorly, from what she believed at that moment would serve her happiness or end her suffering, just as you have done, just as we all do. We are all, in every moment, doing what we think is right or necessary based on the light we have to see by. Sometimes that light is dim. Sometimes it is a flickering candle of fear, not the steady sun of wisdom. Seeing her this way, as a fellow confused traveler rather than a malicious architect of your pain, is the ultimate act of emotional sovereignty. It means you are no longer giving her actions the power to define your inner world as a place of war. You can look at what happened and think that was a reflection of her inner world, not a verdict on my worth. This empathy, this sympatheia, is a release valve for your anger. You are not bottling it up, you are letting it dissolve in the wider understanding of shared human frailty. The result is not weakness, but a clean, peaceful heart. And a clean heart radiates a maturity that is unmistakable. It allows you to speak of the past without bitterness, to hear her name without a flinch, to wish her genuine well-being from a place of detached kindness because you understand her struggle is her own. This peace puts you in a different category entirely. It shows you have moved beyond the petty ledger of who hurt whom, into the spacious realm of someone who understands how people work. That depth of understanding is the mark of a man who is not easily shaken because he sees the world and the people in it clearly, and there is nothing more respectable than clear, compassionate sight. This clear, compassionate sight allows you to finally see the relationship for what it truly was, not through the blur of loss, but through the precise lens of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics divided the entire world into three simple, radical categories. The first is virtue, which is the only true good. This is your courage, your justice, your wisdom, your self-command. The second is vice, the only true evil, which is the corruption of those virtues, your cowardice, your unfairness, your foolishness, your lack of discipline. And then there is the third, massive category that contains literally everything else. They called these things indifference, your health, your wealth, your social status, your possessions, and yes, your romantic relationships. These are called indifference not because they do not matter or we should not care about them, but because they are not essential to the ultimate goal, which is eudaimonia, a life of flourishing and inner peace. You cannot achieve that life without virtue. You can absolutely achieve it without perfect health, a huge bank account, or being in a relationship. Now, within the category of indifference, the Stoics made a further distinction. Some indifference are preferred. It is perfectly natural and reasonable to prefer having good health over being sick, to prefer financial stability over poverty, and to prefer a loving, supportive partnership over being alone. Your relationship with her was a preferred indifferent. It was something you rightly valued and enjoyed when you had it, but here is the life-changing shift. The breakup did not take something good from you. It moved a preferred indifferent out of your life. It removed something you preferred, but it did not touch the only thing that is genuinely good, your capacity to live with virtue right now, in this moment, without it. Your entire healing process has been a slow, often painful, reorientation from pursuing that lost preferred indifferent back to pursuing the true good. Every time you chose courage over texting her, that was you pursuing the true good. Every time you chose justice by speaking without bitterness, that was you pursuing the true good. Every night you journaled to build self-awareness, that was you mining for the true good within yourself. This is why superficial rebounds or frantic dating often feel so empty. You are just trying to replace one preferred indifferent with another, hoping the new person will fill the hole the old one left, but the hole was never in your relationship status. The sense of lack comes from neglecting the true good, your own character. When you stop chasing the indifferent and start cultivating the good, your entire energy changes. You are not thriving because you found a new girlfriend. You are thriving because you found a deeper, inexhaustible source of fulfillment that no person can give or take away. You are building a life where your happiness is internally referenced, not externally leased. This is what will be perplexingly impressive to her and to everyone watching. They will see you not just moving on, but leveling up in a way that does not seem to require anyone's approval or presence. You are not bitter about being single. You are curiously, actively engaged in your own growth. You are not waiting for life to begin when the right person arrives. You are living a virtuous, interesting life right now. That kind of quiet, self-sufficient contentment is magnetic and deeply respectable because it is so rare. It signals a man who is not on the market to be completed, but who is already whole, building a life so compelling that anyone would be fortunate to share in it, not as the source of his light, but as a witness to its glow. That self-sufficient contentment is not a final destination, but a daily practice of becoming. There is a powerful secret hidden in plain sight within Stoic teachings, a principle that turns philosophy into immediate action. The Stoic teacher Epictetus put it plainly: first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is the ancient root of a modern behavioral truth. You must act as if you are already the person you want to become. Do not wait for the feeling of confidence to magically arrive before you can stand tall. Do not wait for a wave of self-respect to wash over you before you can set a firm boundary. You generate the feeling by first performing the action. Your nervous system takes its cues from your body. So ask yourself this right now: how would the most resilient, dignified version of you carry himself through an ordinary Tuesday? He would not slouch at his desk, eyes darting to his phone every few minutes. He would sit with his shoulders back, breathe deeply, and pour his focus into the task before him, finding a quiet pride in the quality of his own work. He would walk into a room not scanning for who might be judging his single status, but with a calm, open posture, making genuine eye contact, listening more than he speaks, and asking thoughtful questions. When a painful memory surfaces, he would not collapse inward. He would feel the sting, acknowledge it, and then consciously choose to straighten his spine, soften his jaw, and redirect his attention to the physical world around him: the feel of the air, the sound of traffic, the texture of the table under his fingers. This is not being fake. This is behavioral self-creation. You are not pretending to be someone else. You are performing the next best version of yourself into existence. Every time you choose the posture of confidence, you send a signal to your brain that says, "We are safe, we are capable." Every time you choose engagement over withdrawal, you reinforce a neural pathway that says, "My worth is inherent and I have something to offer this moment." You are quite literally rewiring your self-perception from the outside in. And here is where it connects directly to her and to the world. People do not respond to your hidden feelings. They respond to the energy you project, to your body language, your tone, your presence. When you consistently act from this place of composed dignity, you cease to broadcast neediness or bitterness. You emit a frequency of wholeness. This changes how everyone interacts with you. Co-workers may begin to seek your opinion more. Friends may confide in you more deeply. And if your path crosses with your ex, she will not encounter the shattered man she might expect. She will meet someone who carries himself with a quiet assurance that needs no explanation. That discrepancy between what she anticipated and what she witnesses creates a powerful cognitive dissonance that can only be resolved by one conclusion: he has changed in a fundamental way. But the true goal is not her reaction. The goal is that by the time you meet her, you will have become so accustomed to living as this stronger man that her opinion simply does not register with the same weight. You will have become the act, and in doing so, you will have built a self-respect that is unshakable because you have embodied it, one conscious choice at a time. That quiet assurance you embody is a fortress, but every fortress has a gate, and yours is held in your hands. Your phone is not just a device, it is a direct portal back to the pain you're working so hard to transcend. This is where modern Stoicism meets its most practical test, a lesson in digital discipline. Every single time you unlock that screen with the faint hope of seeing a message, or you open an app with the intention of checking her profile, you are not gathering information. You are performing a ritual of self-harm. You are voluntarily reopening a wound that was beginning to scar over, and you are pouring the salt of fresh evidence into it. That photo she posted, that new follower, that song she liked, none of this is neutral data. To your healing nervous system, it is a series of tiny electric shocks, each one reinforcing the neural pathway of obsession and pain. Stoic mindfulness here is brutally simple. You must become the guardian of your own attention because your attention is your life. Where you place it determines the quality of your mind in that moment. Scrolling through her digital ghost is the opposite of placing your attention on what is within your control. It is handing your serenity over to a server farm, to an algorithm designed to keep you hooked on the very thing that hurts you. So the action is clear, but the intention behind it is everything. Unfollow, mute, or block. Do not do this as an act of petty revenge, a signal you hope she will notice and interpret as your strength. That is just another form of orbiting her reality. Do it as a surgical, clinical act of self-preservation. You are not removing her, you are removing a persistent source of infection from your daily environment. It is no different from a doctor cleaning a wound to prevent sepsis. You are creating a sterile field so your own psyche can heal. This extends beyond her profile. Audit your entire digital input. What podcasts autoplay in your car? What accounts do you follow that leave you feeling inadequate or angry? Your mind is a garden. You cannot simply pull one weed and call it a day. You must also plant new, healthier seeds. This is your new media diet. Replace the trigger content with nourishment. Find podcasts on philosophy or personal growth. Follow accounts that teach a skill you have always wanted to learn, or that share or inspiring science and nature. Join online communities, even quietly, that are focused on Stoicism or mindful living. This is not about positive thinking, it is about strategic input. You are programming your subconscious with material that builds rather than dismantles your new identity. The discipline this requires is immense because the pull of the familiar pain is a powerful addiction. But each time you choose the nourishing input over the toxic one, you cast a vote for the man you are becoming. You demonstrate to yourself in the most concrete way possible that you are in command of your own focus. This supreme self-command does not go unnoticed. When people see you are not glued to your phone, when they hear you reference a fascinating idea from a book instead of the latest social media drama, they perceive a mind that is its own master. That quiet authority, born from the daily choice to guard your gates, commands a silent, profound respect. It shows you value your inner peace more than you value the temporary, bitter satisfaction of surveillance. Your digital discipline clears away the noise, but it leaves a silence that can be deafening. You have unplugged from the old source of meaning, and now the room of your own mind feels startlingly empty. This is the critical juncture. That emptiness is not a flaw in your healing, it is the entire point. You have successfully drained the swamp of obsession, and now you are staring at the bare, fertile soil beneath. What will you plant there? If you leave it empty, the weeds of regret and nostalgia will creep back in within days. This is the purpose vacuum that every major life change, especially a painful breakup, exposes. You have been using the relationship as your operating system, the software that organized your priorities, your time, and your sense of self. Now that program has crashed. You cannot just sit at a blank screen. You need to install a new, more powerful operating system, one that does not crash when a single application fails. This is where Stoicism shifts from being a collection of useful coping tips to being a complete, lived philosophy for life. It is not a bandage, it is a blueprint for building a resilient, meaningful existence from the ground up. The principles you have been practicing, the dichotomy of control, amor fati, the nightly review, they are not just for heartbreak. They are the core code for handling any challenge life throws at you, from career setbacks to personal loss to everyday frustrations. To truly install this system, you must go beyond summaries and dive into the source code. Pick up Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, the private journal of the most powerful man in the world, wrestling with his own duty, mortality, and temper. Read Epictetus's Discourses, the fiery lectures of a former slave who teaches that freedom is an internal condition. Open Seneca's Letters from a Stoic, the wise, practical advice from a statesman on managing time, anger, and grief. Let these thinkers become your mentors. Their words are not ancient relics, they are timeless conversations with the human condition. They will show you that your struggles are not unique but part of the shared human journey, and they will give you a vocabulary and a framework for your pain that transforms it from a personal tragedy into a universal curriculum. But even this is not the final step. Stoicism provides the operating system, but you must write your own purpose, your personal application that runs on it. The Stoics spoke of logos, a rational principle that orders the universe. Your task is to find your personal logos, your reason for being that is bigger than any single relationship, job, or external achievement. Ask yourself the most important question you can ask right now. What is my mission? Not a job title, but a core direction. Are you here to create beauty through art, music, or writing? Are you here to alleviate suffering by helping others, teaching, or building something useful? Are you here to master a craft, to pursue knowledge to its furthest edge, to protect and provide for those you love, to leave a legacy of integrity? This purpose does not need to be grand or world-changing. It needs to be true for you, and it needs to be oriented outward toward contribution rather than consumption. A man gripped by a compelling purpose walks differently. His eyes are on the horizon, not on the ground behind him. He has a North Star. When a painful thought about the past arises, he does not just practice mindfulness to observe it, he has a positive reason to let it go. I cannot build this business, I cannot write this chapter, I cannot be fully present for my friend if my mind is back there. His energy becomes mission-focused. He is up early not because he is sad, but because his project demands it. He is learning new skills not to impress anyone, but because they serve his aim. He says no to distractions not with bitterness, but with the calm clarity of someone who has a more important yes burning inside him. This mission-focused energy is magnetic and deeply respectable. It is the opposite of neediness. It communicates that your life is already full, already spoken for by something significant. People, especially a former partner, will witness this shift, and they will not see a man who got over her. They will see a man who outgrew the chapter she was in. He is not defined by what he lost, but by what he is building. And that, more than any silence or any display of indifference, is the ultimate mark of a life reclaimed. That mission you are building requires a container strong enough to hold it. The ancient Greeks knew this well, and their ideal, a sound mind in a sound body, was not just a slogan, it was a cornerstone of philosophy the Stoics fully embraced. Your physical body is not a separate machine you carry your brain around in. It is the primary instrument through which your will meets the world. This is why rigorous, consistent physical training is not an optional hobby for your recovery. It is a direct, non-negotiable practice of Stoic virtue. When you commit to a discipline, whether it is lifting weights, running distances, practicing martial arts, or mastering a sport, you are stepping onto a daily proving ground for your character. Showing up at the gym on a cold, dark morning when every part of you wants to stay in bed is an act of discipline. It is the virtue of temperance in action, choosing the long-term good over the immediate comfort. Pushing through that final, burning set when your muscles are screaming to quit is a pure exercise in courage, the will to act rightly in the face of pain and fear. Managing your diet, prioritizing sleep for recovery, listening to your body's needs without indulging its every whim, that is the living practice of self-command. The physical transformation, the stronger muscles, the improved endurance, that is a wonderful bonus, but it is not the true goal. The true goal is the invisible proof you are collecting day after day that you can endure difficulty and overcome it. You are building a reservoir of evidence that you are tougher than your excuses. This evidence is unshakable. No one can argue with the weight you lifted, the mile you ran, the technique you finally mastered after weeks of failure. That proof translates into a quiet, cellular confidence. It changes how you inhabit your own skin. Your posture straightens not because you are trying to look confident, but because your back muscles are stronger. Your voice carries a grounded resonance because your breathing is deeper and more controlled from hard exertion. You move with a deliberate economy, a sense of contained power, because you have learned to channel effort efficiently. This physical presence is undeniably respectable. It communicates self-mastery without a word being spoken. It tells the world you respect yourself enough to care for your vessel, to forge it into something capable and resilient. That vitality, that sense of being fully alive in your body, radiates outward. It makes you more present in conversations, more engaged in your work, more capable of handling stress because your nervous system is conditioned to recover from intense demand. When you meet life's challenges, you do so from a body that knows what it is to struggle and prevail. This is not about vanity, it is about sovereignty. A man who has mastered his own physical nature carries a calm authority that is felt by everyone in the room. That physical sovereignty you build is a testament to what you still possess. In the shadow of a loss, it is easy to see your life as a ledger with one enormous red entry. Everything else seems to pale in comparison, fading into the background noise of the ordinary. This is a trick of the grieving mind, a narrowing of focus that can make a world of abundance feel like a prison of lack. The 18th lesson is a deliberate act of counter-programming, a daily practice of gratitude for what remains. This is not about slapping a smiley face on your pain and chanting empty affirmations. That is toxic positivity, and it rings hollow. Stoic gratitude is something far more substantial, a cognitive recalibration of your very attention. It is the active, daily choice to scan your environment not for what is missing, but for what is steadfastly, beautifully present. The exercise is disarmingly simple, yet its effects are profound. Each morning, or perhaps each night before you sleep, you list 3 concrete things you still have that the breakup did not and cannot take from you. These are not grand philosophical concepts. They are the specific, tactile details of your ongoing life. Your health, the simple miracle of a body that breathes and moves. Your intellect, your capacity to learn and understand and solve problems. Your sense of humor, that flicker of light that can still find the absurdity in a difficult day. The loyalty of a friend who listened without judgment, the warmth of the sun on your skin during a walk, the rich, comforting taste of a perfectly brewed cup of coffee. The way the evening light slants through your window, the book on your nightstand waiting to transport you. By naming these things, you are performing a vital audit. You are proving to your own nervous system that the catastrophe was not total. Your world did not end. It was rearranged, and in that new arrangement, 1,000 points of light still shine. You are shifting your identity from someone who lost a relationship to someone who possesses a wealth of enduring gifts. This practice prevents you from defining your entire existence by a single, albeit significant, subtraction. A man who cultivates this kind of gratitude carries a different energy. He is not defined by a vacuum. He is anchored in a tangible reality of ongoing good. This does not mean he is never sad, but it means his sadness exists within a wider context of appreciation. That balance is magnetic. People are instinctively drawn to those who notice and appreciate the good because that energy is generative and life-affirming. It fosters respect naturally because it demonstrates a profound maturity, an ability to hold complexity, to acknowledge pain without being consumed by it. When you can find genuine gratitude for the quiet moments of your day, you broadcast a quiet confidence that your happiness was never truly outsourced to begin with. Gratitude anchors you in what remains, but it also creates a space around you, a buffer zone of quiet. We live in a world that screams at us to react, to explain, to justify, to fill every empty second with noise. The phone buzzes and we answer, a comment is made and we fire back, a memory surfaces and we rush to drown it out with music or a podcast. This constant reactivity is a form of emotional leakage, a slow drain on your power. The 19th lesson is the deliberate cultivation of its opposite, the power of Stoic silence and stillness. This is not about being mute or passive. It is about reclaiming your right to not participate in every drama, to not have the last word, to not explain your every move to an audience that may not have your best interests at heart. It begins internally. Can you sit for 10 minutes alone with no device, no book, no distraction, and simply observe the flow of your own mind? You will notice the urge to get up to check something to do. You will feel the discomfort of your own unfiltered thoughts, the regrets and anxieties that usually get buried under a stream of content. The practice is to sit with them not as a judge but as a curious observer. This is the silence between the notes that makes the music. It is in this stillness that you discover you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness watching them pass by like clouds in a vast sky. This internal quiet is where your true strength regenerates. It is where you digest your experiences instead of just collecting them. Now, translate this inner stillness to the outside world, especially to the most charged social situations. Imagine you are at a gathering and she walks in. Your old script might have demanded a performance. You would feel pressure to be seen having the best time, to be overheard saying something clever, to prove through animated conversation that you are perfectly fine. That energy is transparent. It reads as neediness disguised as vibrancy. The Stoic alternative is to anchor yourself in that practiced stillness. You take a slow breath, feeling your feet on the floor. You greet her with a polite, simple nod if your eyes meet, a small smile that holds no agenda. And then you return your attention fully to the person you are speaking with, or you simply allow yourself to be present, observing the room with calm eyes. You do not rush to fill the space with nervous chatter. Your silence in that moment is not awkward, it is profound. It communicates a deep self-containment. It says, I am so at peace within myself that I do not require your validation, your reaction, or even your conversation to feel complete here. While others might be scrambling for social footing, your quiet presence becomes a pillar. People will notice this, perhaps not consciously, but they will feel the shift in gravity around you. In any potential conflict or charged exchange, the person who can remain silent, who can listen fully without formulating a rebuttal, who can choose not to take the bait of a petty comment, holds all the power. Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting back the chaos or insecurity of the other person without you uttering a single defensive word. This is not about winning. It is about demonstrating that your inner peace is not negotiable currency for social games. That kind of quiet self-assurance builds a reputation of depth and stability. It tells the world you have an inner life rich enough that you do not need to constantly broadcast it. That profound quiet you cultivate is the fertile ground for the most difficult and most liberating of all Stoic practices. Forgiveness, this word is often misunderstood, wrapped in a soft, almost religious light that implies weakness or capitulation. Stoic forgiveness is none of those things. It is a clear-eyed, deliberate, and yes, a deeply selfish act of liberation. Think of the anger and resentment you still carry not as a weapon you are holding against her, but as a heavy, toxic chain you have wrapped around your own ankles. Every time you replay that final argument, every time you mentally list her faults, every bitter thought you entertain, you are not hurting her. You are drinking a slow poison and waiting for her to feel sick. She has moved on with her life, likely unaware of the internal courtroom where you keep prosecuting her day after day. You are the judge, the jury, and the only prisoner. Forgiveness, in the Stoic sense, is the moment you choose to walk out of that self-made prison and lock the door behind you. It is a judgment you make about the past and a command you give to your own emotions. The judgment is this: what you did was wrong, it caused me pain, and I acknowledge that reality fully. I am not erasing it or pretending it was okay. But here is the command: I now choose to release the emotional hold this event has on my present mind. My peace is my responsibility, not yours, and I am reclaiming it. This is not something you say to her, it is something you enact within yourself. It is the internal declaration that you will no longer pay rent for space in your own mind to a memory that causes you harm. You evict the resentment. The process is not a single moment, but a series of small, daily choices. When the bitter thought arises, you acknowledge it, you feel its sting, and then you consciously redirect your focus. You might even say to yourself, I forgive the part of me that is still holding on to this. I release this burden now. You are not saying what she did is acceptable. You are saying that your own serenity is more important to you than clinging to the story of how you were wronged. The physical sensation is one of letting go of a weight you have been carrying for so long you forgot it was there. Your shoulders drop, your breathing deepens, the constant background hum of low-grade anger simply switches off, and this freedom is palpable. When you have truly forgiven, you can hear her name or even see her and feel nothing but a neutral distance. There is no charge, no flinch, no hidden agenda. That emotional neutrality is the ultimate sign of a man who has processed his pain and integrated the lesson. It reads as immense maturity. People sense when someone carries no hidden bitterness, when their interactions are clean and free from the ghosts of old battles. That lightness of being is deeply, instinctively respectable. It signals that you have done the hardest work of all. You have made peace with your past, and in doing so, you have freed your future from its shadow. Forgiveness unlocks a profound lightness, but that lightness is not meant to float away into isolation. It creates a new kind of energy, a surplus of focus and calm that now seeks a proper outlet. If you are not careful, that energy can turn back inward, curdling into a refined form of self-absorption. The 21st lesson is the deliberate redirection of that force away from the mirror and out into the world by practicing the Stoic social virtue of justice. The Stoics believed we are not solitary atoms, but parts of a greater whole designed by nature for cooperation and community. Your deepest fulfillment is found not in what you acquire for yourself, but in what you contribute to the common good. In the aftermath of a breakup, this principle is your lifeline out of the echo chamber of your own pain. The question is no longer, why did she leave me, but rather, how can I be useful today? Service is the ultimate antidote to self-pity. It forcibly reorients your perspective. You stop measuring your worth by who texts you back and start measuring it by the concrete good you can do with your own two hands. This does not need to be a grand, dramatic gesture. It begins with the immediate circle of your life. Listen, truly listen to a friend who is struggling with his own problems without steering the conversation back to your own. Offer to help a family member with a tedious chore, no strings attached. At work, look for a way to make a colleague's task easier, not for credit, but because a well-functioning team is a good in itself. If you can, volunteer for a cause that means something to you, even for just a few hours a month. The act of serving food at a shelter, cleaning up a local park, or mentoring a younger person in your field accomplishes two transformative things. First, it gets you powerfully out of your own head. Your attention is fully consumed by the needs of another person or a shared task. In that flow, the obsessive loop about your past simply has no room to run. You are reminded viscerally that the universe is much larger than your personal storyline. Second, and more subtly, it rebuilds your identity from the outside in. Every time you act as a benefit to others, you are gathering evidence that you are a giver, a contributor, a reliable man. You are not the guy moping in his apartment, you are the guy people can count on. This character is the complete antithesis of the needy post-breakup archetype. Neediness says, what can I get to fill my void? Service says, what can I give from my abundance? That shift in posture is unmistakable and commands a deep, enduring form of respect. People may not know why they are drawn to you, but they will feel the solidity of a man whose energy flows outward, who is anchored in purpose beyond his own desires. When your ex hears about you, the story will not be about how you are still hung up on her, but about how you are the one organizing the charity run, or coaching the kids' team, or simply being the rock your friends lean on. That reputation, earned through consistent, quiet action, becomes a legacy far more impressive than any relationship status. It shows you have turned your pain into fuel for contribution, and that is the mark of a man who is truly respected because he has first made himself respectable. Service rebuilds your identity as a giver, but to build something truly unshakable, you must first inspect the foundation for cracks. There is a seductive, comforting story your mind wants to tell in the quiet hours. It goes like this: she ruined me. She is the one who left. She is the one who said those words. She is the reason for this hollow feeling in my chest. This narrative feels true because it is built on real events, but it is also a prison. Stoicism confronts this head-on with a demand for radical, even uncomfortable ownership. The philosophy is brutally clear. You cannot control her actions, but you are always responsible for your judgments and your responses. This moves beyond simple accountability into a deeper, more empowering truth. Even if, in your honest assessment, she was 95% at fault for the relationship's end, your task is to laser focus on your 5%. This is not about taking blame you do not deserve. It is about excavating your own agency from the rubble. What was your role in the dynamic that led here? This is the hardest, most honest audit you will ever conduct. Did you see red flags early on, perhaps a pattern of disrespect or a fundamental value mismatch, and choose to ignore them because you were afraid of being alone? Were you needy, deriving your entire sense of worth from her validation, which may have slowly suffocated the attraction? Were you complacent, stopping the effort to court and connect, taking the relationship for granted once it felt secure? Did you fail to communicate your needs clearly, expecting her to read your mind, and then building resentment when she did not own it completely? Not with shame, not with self-flagellation, but with the clear-eyed detachment of an engineer examining a blueprint to see where the stress fractures began. This ownership is paradoxically the most empowering step you can take, because if you were even a small part of the problem, then you hold the keys to being the entire solution for your future. If your neediness was a factor, you now know that building an independent, self-sufficient life is your non-negotiable project. If your complacency was the issue, you now understand that consistent, deliberate effort is the currency of lasting connection. By rejecting the victim narrative, you are not saying what happened was okay. You are declaring that you are not a passive character in your own life story, forever defined by someone else's choice. You are the author, and you are taking full responsibility for the pen. A man who can do this, who can sit in the uncomfortable silence and name his own contributions without dissolving into shame or deflecting into blame, demonstrates a maturity that is exceptionally rare. He does not make excuses. He does not curate a story where he is the flawless hero betrayed by a villain. He presents as a complete, complex human being who is capable of learning. That integrity is magnetic. It tells the world, and more importantly, it tells you that you are safe with yourself. You can trust yourself to face hard truths, which means you can trust yourself to build something better. This self-trust is the core of a respect that no external opinion can ever grant or take away. Ownership of your inner world demands a visible signature. The 23rd lesson moves from the architecture of your mind to the craftsmanship of your immediate world, to the Stoic principle of aesthetic refinement. This is not about expensive clothes or a perfectly styled apartment for social media. It is the tangible, daily practice of aligning your external environment with the internal order you are cultivating. Think of it as non-verbal philosophy. Your grooming, your clothing, the state of your living space, these are not separate from your character. They are its physical echo. When you take the time for a clean shave or a neat haircut, when you choose clothes that are simple, well-fitting, and free from stains or wrinkles, you are not performing for others. You are conducting a daily ritual of self-respect. You are telling your nervous system, I am worth this care. The same applies to your home. A cluttered, chaotic room is the external manifestation of a cluttered, chaotic mind. It pulls your attention in a dozen directions, each unfinished task or pile of disarray a tiny anchor holding you in the past. Curating an orderly space, even a modest one, is an act of sovereignty. It means creating an external environment that supports your internal peace, a sanctuary that inspires focus rather than distraction. This might mean making your bed each morning, a small victory of order that sets the tone for the day. It could be clearing your desk so you can think clearly, or placing a single plant on your windowsill to introduce a note of calm, living growth. This refinement is the opposite of flashy display. It is quiet, intentional, and deeply personal. It signals to the world, and yes, subtly to your ex if your paths cross, that you are a man who has his house in order, both literally and figuratively. You are not letting yourself or your surroundings decay in the shadow of loss. You are actively building a life that is clean, considered, and dignified. That visible discipline is quietly compelling. It invites others to match your level of respect because you have already demonstrated, without saying a word, the high standard you hold for yourself. That clean, orderly space you have curated is not just for show, it is the physical stage for your next evolution. The quiet you have protected, the self-sufficiency you have built, they all converge on a single, transformative practice. Solitude. In the wake of a relationship, being alone often feels like a punishment, a gaping hole where companionship used to be. It is a state of lack, a silence that echoes with absence. The 24th lesson is to radically redefine this. Solitude is not a void to be feared, but a forge to be entered. It is your superpower. Think of the most powerful, creative, and influential figures in history, from philosophers to inventors to artists. Their breakthroughs rarely happened in committee meetings or crowded parties. They happened in the deep, uninterrupted wells of solitude. This is your time to claim that same depth. Use these hours not for scrolling or numbing out, but for deep work on your mission, for the strategic planning of your next year, for reading the books that will reshape your mind. The Stoic philosopher Seneca wrote, "The person who has learned to be alone in a crowd has learned a great thing." He is talking about an inner citadel so strong that even surrounded by noise and distraction, you can retreat into your own focused, purposeful mind. You are building that citadel right now. Start by scheduling your solitude. Treat it with the same respect you would a business meeting or a doctor's appointment. One evening a week, turn everything off. No phone, no television, no background noise. Sit with the discomfort until it passes, and then lean into the clarity that follows. In that silence, ask yourself the big questions. Where do I want to be in 5 years? What habits are serving me and which are holding me back? What does a truly virtuous life look like for me day by day? This is not idle daydreaming. It is the command center of your life. A man who is comfortable and profoundly productive in his own company is never desperate. He does not jump into a new relationship simply to escape the quiet because the quiet has become his ally. He has conversations with himself that are more interesting than most small talk. He cultivates his own interests until they become passions. When he does choose to connect with others, he does so from a place of genuine abundance, not need. He is not looking for someone to complete him or entertain him. He is looking for someone to share the fascinating, full life he is already building. This self-sufficiency is magnetic. It is incredibly attractive and commands a deep respect because it is so authentic. It shows you are complete on your own. People can sense when someone's presence is a gift, not a demand. They are drawn to the calm energy of a man who is not anxiously scanning the room for validation, but who is content in his own skin, offering connection from a place of strength, not scarcity. Your solitude, once a source of pain, becomes the very engine of your becoming. The solitude you have mastered is the final, quiet proof of a profound truth. You have walked through the fire of loss, not around it, and emerged not scorched but tempered. You have practiced the pause between impression and reaction. You have drawn the bright line between what is yours and what is not. You have learned to love the fate that brought this lesson and to premeditate the fears that once paralyzed you. You have taken the view from above and seen your story in its true scale. You have remembered your mortality and used it to prioritize your days. You have sat with your journal each night, auditing your character. You have met every obstacle as the way to forge courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. You have anchored your identity in virtue, not in a title. You have chosen voluntary discomfort to prove your resilience. You have filtered your words through truth, necessity, and kindness. You have seen her confusion, not her malice. You have reclassified the relationship as a preferred indifferent. You have acted as the man you chose to become. You have guarded your attention with digital discipline. You have installed a philosophy as your operating system and defined a purpose as your mission. You have forged a sound mind in a sound body. You have audited your life for daily gratitude. You have cultivated the power of stillness. You have forgiven to set your own soul free. You have turned your energy outward into service. You have taken radical ownership of your part. You have refined your environment as an echo of your inner order. And you have transformed solitude from a punishment into your most creative forge. These are not 24 separate tips. They are the interlocking rings of a single, unbreakable armor. And now, the final 25th lesson is not something you do, but something you realize. It is the synthesis of everything. You are the prize. This is the ultimate quiet shift in your center of gravity. For months, perhaps, a hidden part of you may have been running this entire operation with a secret objective. Maybe you thought, if I become this resilient, this disciplined, this impressive, she will see it. She will regret it. She will want me back. That thought, however faint, is a leak in your foundation. It means your compass is still calibrated to her approval. The final lesson demands you recalibrate it to true north. You are not becoming a better man to win her back or to make her jealous or to prove your ex wrong. You are becoming a better man because that is what a man does. You are forging a character of virtue, resilience, wisdom, and purpose for its own sake, because a life well lived is its own reward. The respect you are building is not a currency to be spent on her attention. It is the bedrock of your existence. When you internalize this, something magical happens. Your motivation becomes pure and therefore unstoppable. You go to the gym not so she might notice a new photo, but because you honor your body as your instrument. You build your career not to boast about your title, but because you find dignity in mastery and contribution. You cultivate kindness not to be seen as a nice guy, but because it is the right way to move through the world. In doing this, you become the prize, not an object to be won, but a standard to be met. Your presence, your peace, your integrity become the valuable commodities. You are no longer auditioning for a role in someone else's story. You are writing your own, and the quality of the narrative is so compelling that the right people will naturally want to be part of it. Whether she ever recognizes this transformation is now completely irrelevant. Her opinion joins the vast category of external indifference. It holds no more weight than the weather forecast for a city you no longer live in. Your self-respect becomes non-negotiable because you have built it yourself, brick by brick, through actions only you witnessed. You know what you have survived. You know the battles you have fought in the quiet of your own mind. That knowledge is unassailable, so when you walk into a room, you are not carrying the ghost of an old relationship. You are carrying the quiet confidence of a man who has faced one of life's great emotional trials and used it as fuel for his own renaissance. You are not looking for someone to complete you. You are from a place of wholeness, open to sharing your journey with someone who is on a similar path. This is not arrogance, it is the humble, earned understanding of your own worth. It is the final lesson, the one that makes all the others permanent. You stop seeking external validation because you are now embodying intrinsic worth. And that, more than any single achievement or any person's returning glance, is the mark of a man who is truly and forever respected. That final, quiet realization is where the journey truly begins. You have just walked through 25 lessons, not as a checklist, but as a complete blueprint for turning the deepest kind of personal pain into the most unshakable form of personal power. This is the Stoic path from heartbreak to self-mastery. It starts in the raw shock of loss, in that moment your phone buzzes and your world tilts, and it ends here with you understanding in your bones that you are the prize. The man who began this journey was defined by an absence, by what he was not, by a relationship that had ended. The man who completes it is defined by a profound presence, by what he has built within the quiet forge of his own character. The respect you have been cultivating through every deliberate pause, every act of ownership, every moment of chosen discipline, is not a temporary costume you wear for the world. It is permanent because it is self-generated. It comes from the one source no one can ever take from you, your own commitment to virtue. This is not about becoming someone your ex regrets losing, though that may be a natural byproduct. This is about becoming someone you are proud to live with every single day, a man whose own approval is the only one that ultimately matters. So where do you go from this moment with all this philosophy laid out before you? The most powerful step is also the simplest. Do not try to absorb all 25 lessons at once. That is a recipe for overwhelm and inaction. Today, pick just one. Just one, perhaps it is the very first one, mastering the pause between the impression and your reaction. Tomorrow, when a painful memory surfaces, practice that pause. Breathe, observe the story your mind wants to tell, and consciously choose a different judgment. Or maybe you choose the practice of nightly journaling. Before you sleep tonight, ask yourself those 3 questions. What did I do well in terms of character today? Where did I let an external disturb my peace? What judgment do I need to correct tomorrow? One lesson, practiced with consistency, will naturally pull the others into your life. If this path of deliberate, philosophy-driven growth resonates with you, consider subscribing. We explore these timeless tools not just for heartbreak, but for building a life of resilience, focus, and quiet confidence in every arena. And I would genuinely love to hear from you in the comments below. Which one of these 25 lessons landed with the most force for you right now? Or perhaps you have your own story of using a Stoic principle to navigate a difficult change. Share it. Your insight might be the exact spark someone else needs to begin their own transformation. To leave you with a final thought, hold onto the words of Marcus Aurelius, who faced unimaginable pressures yet never relinquished his inner command. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Your strength was always there, waiting to be realized." The event was just the catalyst. Now go and build.